Do you find that when you're writing that you have a certain time of day that you will go for?
Absolutely. I write best at night when no one's going to call me. I write midnight until 5 when I can, because people are sleeping. And I'm tempted to go out to the park and go to the cafe and all these things in the day, and all the distractions are out there, and it's so easy and so nice. But yeah, writing definitely happens after midnight, and then I fall asleep eventually.
Do you come up with your characters first or the plot first?
Usually a character, an idea, or a sentence. And then once I write enough, then I force myself to sketch a plot. So what I write actually makes sense in the end. So I remember one book, Bliss, began with the image of a family of 3 riding on a motorcycle, the father, operating the bike, the child in the middle, and the mother behind, and them just riding down a mountain road. And that was the beginning, and then it became, that was the seed of it, but it's not a big part of the plot of what's happening on this mountain road. But it varies.
Mm-hmm. And do you find that you can write on an empty stomach?
No. It's a distraction to be hungry or thirsty or, any way distracted. I can find a reason to get up from my desk and go do something, to open the window, to see if it's sunny outside yet, or, go eat that last almond croissant, whatever it is. So I have to be, sated in all these different ways before I start writing, otherwise I'll never do anything.
With your novels, you've covered, especially, I suppose, they're very sexy books we're looking at here, and the idea of erotica in writing. If you could have a choice to mix other genres of writing, which genre would you go for?
What do you mean?
So, in your latest book, I noticed that there was a little bit of drama. Well, in terms of the drama that was there, that seemed to cover not quite murder mystery, but definitely, bordering onto some sort of crime.
Right.
Crime.
The thriller
aspect of it as well. What other genres would you like to write if you wasn't writing romance books?
I would definitely like to tackle literary fiction, and I'm working on something like that now. It's set in 1920s United States, New York, and it is not as sexy or sexually driven as my other books. And so I always wanted to branch out, and I am branching out. So, and I've actually written a young adult novel that has no sex in it at all, and it's for teens, 14 through 18. So I want to do everything. I want to write all kinds of books, whatever idea that sparks. I want to feel free to follow them and pursue them, and hopefully people will read them.
Is it safe to write under a pseudonym? Would you write under a pseudonym in order to explore different genres of writing or to feel this freeness that you speak about?
Mm-hmm. I would. Under Fiona Zedde, and that's a pseudonym in itself, the last name. Under Fiona Zedde, I write the lesbian erotic romances, and under my real name, Fiona Lewis, I write the juvenile fiction. And then I'm not sure what name I'll use to write a literary novel, but I feel like it has to be something between the two. I might use my whole name, first, middle, and last, to write the literary novel. So I think pseudonyms are important and useful if you're writing different genres, because that will give the reader immediately the clue that this is the type of book that they're picking up. Fiona Zedde is going to be erotic. Fiona Lewis is going to be about children and their issues, and Fiona Lewis is going to be about a mixture of maybe deeper sort of literary themes, things like that. So it's a nice shorthand to have a pseudonym, I think.
Would you write for Mills and Boons?
Of course. It pays really well. And if you can write quickly, that's perfect. I'm actually thinking about doing one, because the American company Harlequin purchased Mills and Boons years ago. And so I'm working on something now for them that will be under yet another name. So we'll see if they take it. And yeah, if you can write fast, I think that would be a great way to make some money as a writer.
Now, where did your idea for Dangerous Pleasures come from?
That idea came from an ex of mine. She was listening to the radio one day, and a woman called in, and she was sharing with the radio host that she liked to go into hotel rooms and have these anonymous, like sort of edge play filled encounters with strange men, and then sometimes things could happen and things have happened, but she won't stop these encounters because they give her kind of some sort of meaning in her life. They give her something to break up the monotony of her sort of corporate existence. And I thought that was odd, and wondered what kind of person, what other kind of life she was leading, what happened at home or what happened in the past that would make her do these things. And so I started to write a story and speculate further and write, and that's what happened.
Do you find that when you're, how much research goes into your novels?
Quite a bit, quite a bit. It's hard work, somebody has to do it. I was talking with someone the other day, and she said to me, a lot of these things are so realistic. They're so just, so visceral. Is it real, or is it all just in your head? And I have to be honest and say most of that's in my head. The research comes in when I talk to lots of my straight friends. I talk to men, and I ask about their sex lives. I ask about, how does this feel? How do you do this? And it's interesting conversation, and it's amazing the things people would share with you, and I find it a challenge, and it's a good challenge to actually render these stories that they've shared with me into realistic feeling fiction. And so when the woman mentioned, it feels so real, you've done so much personal research, haven't you? I feel very proud because I've managed to render these stories into, and none of these things happened to me, but I have managed to render these stories into believable fiction that someone can say, wow, you get around. It's like, no, not really.
Do women come up to you and, I don't know, because, when I'm looking, I've tried to write sexy scenes, and I find that when I'm writing, that I'll stop myself, because it's like, people can ask me if that's voice. It's like, no, I said, what do I say? And those relationships, is it I was reading the novel on my Kindle on the train, people looking over people were watching me. I didn't want for anybody to know what I was reading and to understand the content. And so for me, I want to know, is this something that empowers women? Any type of woman. And do you get men reading your books? We have one man in the office here. Do you have many male readers, and do women come up to you feeling empowered, whether they are housewives or whether they are shy women, or is it because your characters are very professional, like progressive women and men?
I do have male readers. There's one guy, I called him my straight white man fan, and he loved my first book and kept on sending me these great emails, very supportive and saying, I love your last book. I'm not sure about the model though, but I think it was a great idea. So I'm sure he's the tip of the iceberg. So if one man can write to me and say, I've read your books and I enjoyed them, then I'm sure there are others. But mostly the people that contact me on a regular basis, either via Facebook or email, or even send me postcards and things in my P.O. box, have been women. Some supportive, some sort of, like, what are you writing, and what's this pornography and all of that. So I get the gamut. For women feeling empowered, it's been interesting, that whole thing. I don't think that necessarily women come up to me saying that my work has empowered them, or they feel empowered, but they feel validated in their desires, saying, I'm not the only one who wants this, or I'm not the only one who thinks about this, or